for the MVP in the NFL right now. I would go Drake May.
Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud out a second straight game against the Titans on Sunday because of a concussion. Davis Mills starts in his place for the second straight game.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Friday, I'll tell you why two preseason Super Bowl contenders are facing must-wins this upcoming weekend. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Are you a business owner struggling to understand how cloud technology can help your business? Are you in need of computer and technology support for your employees? M-Cubed Technologies is your solution for fully managed IT services. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. M-Cubed will be your partner in the digital world, allowing your business to carry on worry-free. We specialize in cloud hosting, Microsoft 365 management, general IT support, and VoIP phone services. Call M-Cubed Technologies today to discuss our partnerships.
At Clausen Honda in Fresno, you're not just getting a car, you're stepping into a full service experience. From the latest new Honda models to certified pre-owned vehicles, a cafe to grab your morning coffee, and a team dedicated to making you feel respected and well served. Whether you're trading in, buying, or scheduling service for your ride, Clausen Honda has you covered with transparent financing, a full service center. Drive in today and see how easy getting behind the wheel can be. Clausen Honda at 6346 North Blackstone Avenue in Fresno.
Citrus season is here, and once again, growers are choosing orange over blue because Kubota means less downtime, easier controls, and better value through the long harvest stretch. When you're racing weather, labor, and time, uptime matters, and Kubota delivers. So, turn to Pioneer Equipment, your authorized Kubota dealer, for the tractors and service they depend on. With Fresno and Reedley locations, Pioneer Equipment, your authorized Kubota dealer, is ready for you this season. Visit Pioneer Equipment, your authorized Kubota dealer, today. Online at pioneerequipmentca.com.
Mike Dermanuel Jr. of Hub International Insurance.
You've got to have a competitive benefits program to attract and retain employees. And as the cost of that continues to rise, we're becoming very innovative in how to finance those benefits for their employees.
Mike Dermanuel Jr. of Hub International. Learn more at hubinternational.com. License number 0757776.
If our clients succeed, we succeed.
There's no such thing as an off-season. When the days get shorter and the fields aren't up to par, it's time to train smarter at Elite Performance Center in Clovis. This full-service indoor facility has batting cages, drills, clinics, and one-on-one lessons with elite coaches, former D1 athletes, MLB vets, and even Fresno State softball players. Whether it's a single lane, a private lesson, or the whole 6-cage facility, Elite Performance Center is here for individuals, groups, and teams. Find Elite on Barstow, just east of Clovis Avenue, or online at ElitePerformanceCenterCA.com. Elite Performance Center. Train like the elite.
Fresno County is filled with talent, but opportunity doesn't always reach every student. The foundation at FCOE is just $100,000 away from reaching our $1 million endowment for excellence. This fund safeguards life-changing programs, from academic decathlon and career expos to arts, leadership, and college readiness, ensuring opportunities for students now and for generations to come. Join us. Every gift builds tomorrow. Visit fcoefoundation.org/raise to 1 million.
Ed Dina's the dealer in Dinuba that does. Yes, he does.
Hey, it's Ashley Dina from Ed Dina's Auto Center. And if you've been thinking about upgrading your ride, this is the month to make it happen. We're rolling out Black Friday savings all November long. You'll get year-end clearance pricing on every vehicle on the lot, plus top trade-in values and fast, hassle-free financing from a family-owned dealership that truly knows how to take care of people. We're proud to serve our communities, so don't wait. Check out the inventory now on eddinasautocenter.com.
Your Fresno State Bulldogs are fighting for that Mountain West championship. There's nothing better than rooting for your Bulldogs as they battle it out on the gridiron, representing your city of Fresno. Bring the whole family and get loud cheering on your Bulldogs at Valley Children's Stadium all season long. Be sure to check out GoBulldogs.com today for information on special events and to grab your tickets for upcoming home games. Go Dogs!
What do you want from me? Tuesday, SportsLine, the Bulldog out. Ken Murray alongside, as always. Take you to three, hand it out to our good buddy Phil Benatti, his outstanding show Behind the Bench for 2 hours on a Thursday. He's at Fashion Furniture. Stop by and see him. El Paso across from River Park. Say hello to Rada Vidiki and check out the furniture. We'll tell you all about that a little bit later on. It is the start of Week 11 in the National Football League. That means for us, the Patriots and the Jets tonight, and a lot of football throughout the weekend. And again, we'll get to all of that scheduling-wise for both 790 and 1430, courtesy of Ed Dunkel and his great business, Precision Civil Engineering, Planning, Land Surveying, Civil Engineering, Landscape Architecture, Construction Management. It's all there under one roof. More information, 449-4500 or precisioneng.net. We'll tell you more about what Ed does for Fresno State a little bit later on. Jackson with me today. The main focus will be football. I'll ask him briefly about the basketball game last night. Jackson was there threading, of course, that game, and the Bulldogs are home opposite the football game. I think most people know that by now. On Saturday, we'll get to the USA Network and what it means to Fresno State and to the Pac during the hour coming up today. So it'll be football, a little bit of basketball, and a little bit about what is a very good media package. We'll see what the financial aspects might be, but as far as coverage, things are looking very bright for the Pac-8 / at some point Pac-12, and certain sports already beyond 8. We know that gig by now, don't we? So we'll talk about it in just a few minutes. But first, our other lead dogs want to spend some time with you. I want to remind you about our buddies at KFC right out of the gate here, talking about the local operators in Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman. Throw back to the 90s, right now, late 90s, as they are putting the classic honey barbecue flavor on everything for a limited time. Chicken sandwiches, tenders, and, of course, those crispy golden pieces you know and love. 2, 3, 4-piece dinners. You've got the Tuesday $10 8-piece bucket or tenders offer still in place. The Wednesday Kentucky Country Fried Steak for $5.99. Those have been with us for a good long while. So some real great deals at the local KFCs in Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman, topped off by the original honey barbecue sauce, which is sweet, savory, and back with us for this limited time. So jump on in at any of those KFCs, whether you're looking for a late lunch right now, an early dinner, or just planning dinner. Stop by and see them in Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman, and thank them for supporting athletics throughout the valley. The other reminders here, the weather, very pertinent, that's for sure. We're probably at the start of 5 straight days of rain. Lee's Air Plumbing, Heating, and Roofing. Allow me the time every day to tell you about the weather. Again, leesair.com on the web, or 825-5337, which is 825-LEES. Been in the Central Valley since 1981. You see the avocado green and blue trucks all over the place. They're terrific local people. Also, they bring guests like Jackson Moore up, and Phil not only has his guests coming through the Lee's Air hotline, which is 559-320-1430, but also callers from the general public. So mark that one down. As far as the forecast goes, we're looking at highs in the 60s, 65 today, 58 tomorrow, then 61, 60, 62, 60, 60. So we're sitting right there in the low 60s with the lows themselves in the mid-40s, which is a recipe for fog. But the main topic, of course, these systems coming in, one today and tomorrow. It already started in the North Valley. We've seen a touch of it in the metro area. We're supposed to see a lot more of it a little bit later today. So you have a Thursday, Friday proposition. Then you've got the boomerang from the south coming back Saturday, Sunday for a second storm, and then you've got a Monday storm to finish things off, potentially more than 3 inches of rain on the valley floor. Don't know if we're going to get there, but if we come anywhere near it, you're going to see a real mess on the roads. The rain and the wind and even thunder up in the upper reaches and the foothills, there are already flood watches and flood warnings. This is a very prominent storm, and hopefully it's going to give us the right amount of rain and not too much. But it's going to come in waves, so you're going to get heavy rain in certain pockets of the valley, then it's going to back off, and then it's going to come back at you again. So just get ready for it. from today all the way through Monday. Be very careful out on the road. And again, we know the fog issues once you get the moisture in the air. So this is going to be a problematic weekend, and it will impact the Fresno State game if everything is as advertised, with that boomerang effect, with the storm going north to south, hitting SoCal, and then coming back toward us. So it's going to be a rainy and cold Saturday night. And, luckily, as we've said, you've got sprint turf or field turf, whatever you want to call it, the old days of the stadium. Not a lot of fun with the original Bermuda grass and then the overlay of the rye that just made it even more slick. The footing will be good. Creature comfort for the fans, that could be a different issue. And, of course, a very important game for Fresno State, and Jackson and I will talk about it in just a few minutes. But thanks, everybody, at Lee's, for allowing us the time. Again, 825-5337, 825-LEES, or leesair.com on the web. Anything you need, central air, plumbing, heating, or roofing. The final reminder comes courtesy of our longtime pal and longtime sponsor and longtime benefactor at Fresno State, Joe Cruz, and his outstanding business, Superior Pipe and Stainless Supply. Remind you about it every day. Pipe fittings, valves, sanitary fittings, food-grade chemical hoses, suction hoses, all there at 4529 North Marty Avenue in Town, Suite 103. Also, you can give them a call at 266-7473, which is 266-PIPE. Joe is there. Gabe is there. More information on the web, superiorpipeusa.com, or Gabe has a direct email, gabe.sbs@gmail.com. Joe's celebrating the 25th anniversary of his outstanding business. Also, he's been a booster at Fresno State for over 3 decades. And if you stop in and see him, if you have any issue at all, or give him a call if you can't get there in person, any issue that needs to be addressed in regard to valves in particular. So if you're working at a plant, if you're a maintenance person, if you're around a boiler, tanker delivery service, a dairy, anybody who relies upon a valve for their financial well-being, if one goes down, your business can go down with it. What Joe can do, what you address the problem with him, is to analyze your situation, give you a same-day estimate, get on it right away, and keep it from becoming that catastrophic turn. If it already has gotten to that point, he'll get you back up and running in a big hurry as well. And if you have some time after he solves your issues, he would like to spend a little bit with you to tell you about how you donate to Fresno State and the best way to do it right now. Go to the main website at gobulldogs.com. There's a donate link at the top. Click on that. Take you to different areas of donation. The BDF celebrating its 75th anniversary has a link there. Also, you've got Myers Champion Circle, and you have Green V Society, the major giving societies. In addition to that, you have the sports clubs. You also have the co-op, which is really critically important, and you have got a variety of other ways through NIL to give to Fresno State. There's a delineation there about how you can give specifically to the Bulldogs. And with the sports clubs, as we talk every day, you have a chance to give your money directly to the team. Quarterback Club for football, for instance, Jack Fertig, Board of Directors Timeout Club for men's basketball. Jack with me every Wednesday to talk basketball. They'd love to see more members. He said give him a call directly on his cell. That's fine. Anytime, 559-287-3305, or fertigjack@AOL.com if you want to go the email route. You also have links for other sports like Dugout Club for baseball and other men's and women's sports there under sports clubs. And then finally, there's one more link. Just click on it. It says more. That will give you more information, tickets and parking, all events on campus. So everything there, one-stop shopping at gobulldogs.com. And we thank Joe Cruz for allowing us the time to tell you how to donate to Fresno State, as he has done now for over 3 decades. So thanks to Joe, everybody at Superior Pipe and Stainless Supply. Thanks go out to Ed Dunkel, Precision Civil Engineering, the local operatives at KFC in Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman, and Lee's Air Plumbing, Heating, and Roofing. And they bring Jackson Moore up, our de facto co-host, on the Lee's Air Hotline, which is 559-320-1430. Jackson, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Tony. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, Jackson. It's been a long week technically, that's for sure, and hopefully it's going to get better. And I know that with the rains this weekend, anybody dealing with electronics knows good luck to you, right? And once everything gets soaked, and it didn't start out great. We're going to see how it finishes. Before we get to the football issues at Fresno State and the import of this game on Saturday, and to talk about the rest of the schedule for the Mountain West, I do want to jump into this situation about USA Network. As you're well aware, Jackson, I spend the vast majority of my professional life dealing with all of the TV and radio things across the country and all of that. And this is a very big deal because USA Network is one of the prime networks, cable and satellite-wise. It has been for a long, long time. But under the NBC umbrella, and we've seen this happen now with the commercial network of NBC, that's why you have Tuesday night NBA games on, and Peacock, which is their very expensive, a very risky venture into the world of streaming. NBC, under that umbrella, also has USA Network and Bravo and a lot of other things. But what they have found is sport is one of the reliable avenues that can take you to the promised land. Playing repeats of Law and Order all day long, not working quite as well as they used to. And so to have this type of presence, you already had the CW, you already have CBS Sports Network and a limited bit of CBS. Jackson, this is a very big deal. I'm anxious to see what the financial aspects might bring us. But without question, as far as exposure goes, a startup like the Pac is right now could not ask for much more than this.
I think it's a huge win for the fans, even the ones that are going to the game and not watching them on TV, because part of this deal is that all the kickoffs will be announced ahead of time. There won't be any 12-day windows for Fox or for ESPN. So before the season starts, essentially all the games should have their kickoff times and won't have to deal with some of the situations that have appeared the last couple of weeks for finding out games a short amount of time ahead of kickoff. And then with this deal as well, they get pretty much every football and men's basketball game on a major network. You're not talking about ESPN Plus or any of the streaming services, most likely for the main football and men's basketball type of broadcast. So, I mean, it's not a lot of volume, of course, with only 9 programs and 8 football teams, but still a bit of a task to accomplish that. So a lot of wins there. It's maybe not CBS and NBC are big. Fans may have to get a little used to finding just where USA Sports is on their cable subscriber or what channel it is, but otherwise it's a pretty clean deal, and we don't know the financial aspects of it, but I think it just sets up very well for the fans, and I mean, that's an underrated deal of this whole prospect.
Well, there's no doubt, and you're going to get quality production as you will with CW and you will with CBS. The one addendum to all of this, and it is, I think, important to note, and that is, most of the time, if you're starting from scratch, you'll get a primary and a secondary legit network, and then your tertiary propositions are probably produced by the schools themselves. Now you have 3 prime affiliates, if you will, prime partners, and I'll be interested, Jackson, to see, because as you're mentioning, and you and I have talked about inventory how many times, right, that you don't have a huge amount of inventory with 8 teams. It's going to change eventually, and I think probably sooner rather than later. We're going to see the Pac-in football get to 12 teams. But for right now, with 8, you've got yourself in a situation where I would think virtually everything will be within the confines of those 3 nets, which means the quality should be there, and it shouldn't be so much of the hit and miss that we've seen in the Mountain West, which has been a problem, as you know.
Yeah, definitely. So checks a lot of boxes here. It's a little bit odd that it's been so long since Fresno State has been associated with ESPN, and they won't be for another 6 years. But the Pac definitely put together some good deals here, and very curious to see what the conference looks like at the end of this period and how they move on from there.
Well, one other thing, the churn rate, the rate of dropouts, if you will, of your subscribers for cable and satellite have been enormous. It's costing Dish Network their very existence, okay? And DirecTV has had to scramble with their stream because the mini dishes weren't working out en masse the way they used to. It is heartening as anybody who's an inveterate sports person to know that sport is a reliable go-to. So when networks look for programming, live reality, real reality, not the nonsense that's scripted that, passes off as real stuff, but the human drama of athletic competition, Jackson. Okay, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's ABC's Wide World of Sports. The fact that sport is front and center makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And is there anybody more warm and fuzzy than me, personality-wise, Jackson? Come on, let's tell everybody what a sweetheart I am off the air, right? Stop laughing. Honestly, you couldn't play along for 30 seconds, could you? I don't blame you. I repulse me, too. So you know what? We're both even. All right. Anyway, congrats to everybody, Teresa, the entire gang at PAC. Hopefully, we're going to see great financial benefit from it, too. That is not a minor issue when it comes to this. All right, very quickly here, Jackson, because I do want to talk football with you before we run out of time, which we do every day way too quickly on this show. Last night, Fresno State came back, took a lead of 5, couldn't hold off a good UC San Diego team. I've said this nonstop. I'm not passing judgment. Had they won last night, I'm not going to say, oh, great, they turned the corner. The fact they lost, I'm not going to dance on them, on their grave about it. It was a game that they played a good team. They played credibly. They lost. Going forward, do you see promise with this team, or are we looking for a team that aspires to break even or somewhere close to it? What is as realistic as you can be at this time of year? How do you feel right now about the team?
Yeah, breaking even wouldn't be such a bad year, all things considered. It would be about a 10-win improvement. While it was bad last year, it would still be pretty significant. I think watching this team, I see the pieces. I see depth, which is huge, something they didn't even have the option of last year to even run most of what Coach Wahlberg wanted to run. But I think there's still some settling in for this team. I think they need to find their go-to guys and get them comfortable and find ways to implement them to the best of their ability. Jake Heidbreder is clearly the leading scorer so far, but not shooting at a great percentage, at least last night. I know UC San Diego put a lot of emphasis on him early, and it just feels like there's a lot of guys. And Jack Manny ends up being the leading scorer, scored almost as many points last night as he did the entire season last year at UC Davis. So I think they need to settle in on 2, 3, 4 guys they can count on to shoot the ball to a degree, and be a little more comfortable in key situations. It's great that they have 10, 11 guys that can kind of seamlessly come in and out right now, but to get to that next level and to be more consistent winner, I do think you need to have those guys you rely on. So hopefully some combination of Zayon Collins and Jake Heidbreder, and maybe David Douglas is one of those guys when he gets healthy. Someone, whether it's Wilson Jocks or Jack Manny, I just think it's tough to not know where your production's coming from game to game. So hopefully some players step up, and then you've just got a really nice supporting cast. I think the schedule, it's interesting just because the Mountain West hasn't been so great so far. A lot of teams we expect a lot of haven't looked all that impressive so far. Maybe there's more wins to be had in conference than thought, but also these teams in November are looking a lot better than we thought they would. Games against New Orleans and Stephen F. Austin and maybe even Utah Valley look more difficult than you probably thought when you looked at the schedule. So it's going to be a bit of a grind, and hopefully this team stays healthy and finds its flow. I don't think they're there yet. I'm not sure how high the ceiling is for this team, but I think it's better than the 2 losses that we've seen at least.
Well, they are improved from last year. To what extent, that's what we're going to find out between now and March. So anyway, it is a process, as Joel Embiid would say, and then he would sit on the bench for the next 6 months because he's hurt. Okay, so we'll just trust the process, Jackson. Bulldogs are home, and that very interesting conflict, 7 o'clock. one more time, it's not going to change, is it? It's going to be 7 o'clock against Utah Valley, even though the football game is across the street at 7:30. It's just the way it is, right?
Yep, and Coach Wahlberg was pretty visibly disappointed by that when asked last night. It sounded like the idea originally was to have a football-basketball doubleheader,
right.
And unfortunately, with TV obligations, it just hasn't worked out that way.
By the way, Petros will be, I was going to say, Petros will be in for the game, but most of the time, as much as we love Petros, it means in the studio in SoCal. So there's another situation, right? You have a 7:30 game opposite now your basketball game, but the network announcers are probably still at a studio in Los Angeles, which tells you why leaving this relationship might not be the worst thing in the world for the Pac going forward, because there have been certain things about Fox and the Mountain West that leave one scratching their collective heads. All right. That's it. Anybody else I want to make enemies of before you and I get started in football? You got a list? Go ahead, just toss it out. It isn't even Friday and we're doing this. All right. Anyway, I hope people stay as dry as possible at SMC. I certainly hope you'll be dry at 7 o'clock, 7:30 at Valley Children's. We'll see if that's a different proposition or not. On the field itself, Jackson, we've talked about it. Fresno State, they've just got to win 3 straight games now. I think it was Cam Braca talking about, speaking of the process, that the attitude was after the Boise State game, 1 of 4. Check off the box. Okay, well, here we go again with Wyoming, then Utah State, then San Jose State. The prerequisite of all of this, the necessary but not sufficient condition, is that you're going to have to win all 4 games. Wyoming is not a great football team. They can be competitive. You already know they've lost to UNLV, to Boise State, etc. This is the game the Bulldogs figure to win. I would think the elements play in Fresno State's favor because the Bulldogs don't throw it a lot. Are you going to be surprised if they have a hard time with this game, or is that just how this season has gone?
Not necessarily that I'm expecting a hard time, but I'm expecting it to be a close game. The line's less than a touchdown, and it's got the lowest over-under of the league across college football, so it's expected to be a low-scoring game. It's one of those where if you win by 10, it might be more like 20 or 30, just because there's not going to be as many possessions, and points should be harder to come by. So I'm expecting a close game. Both teams are going to be very similar, I believe, in their approach. They're both going to be looking to play strong defense and run the ball and do just enough through the air to keep things moving, play field position, win in the trenches, all that kind of good stuff that we've heard from Fresno State all off-season and through the year is a lot of the same things that Wyoming's preaching. So I'm expecting a physical game, a gritty game, probably not a very pretty one. It's going to be ugly. And I think the good news is for Fresno State is that they've really excelled in those situations. It's been the teams that have kind of broken open games that have given them the most trouble. When things are close, the Bulldogs have found ways to win. So I think that's a comfortable situation for Fresno State. I think it's a lot more advantageous than some of the approaches coming up, like Utah State and San Jose State can bring. But it's also a very thin margin. When you're in games like that, one big turnover, one bad field position situation can really change the game pretty significantly. So you've got to be really on it and really get that running game going and avoid any critical mistakes on defense.
We talked about the paucity of passing yards, yet you won a game 30-7, and the upside being that even though you did not have much offense through the air, you also didn't make mistakes. Again, job one is a turnover-free game. That's a given. If the Bulldogs win the turnover battle, are they going to win this football game, period? I mean, is that all there is to it?
I think so. Unless it's so clean and conservative that both teams have 0 or 1, maybe you can get away with it. But we've definitely seen when the Bulldogs are clean with the ball, it's been a lot easier. And when they force quite a few turnovers, they've had some of their biggest wins there. So that definitely changes the math. If they have a big advantage in the turnover game, then we should see more points and a larger margin. But as long as they take care of business on their end and protect the ball, I think that should be enough to get them across the finish line.
Any concern about the environment in the stadium because of the weather, Jackson? I mean, there are going to be people. I mean, first of all, being realistic about this, and I'm not talking about the basketball game being across the street, though obviously in this day and age of streaming, you can certainly stay home if you choose to and watch the football game on FS1 and stream the basketball game and be nice and warm and cozy and dry at home, and have Boise State and San Diego State on at the same time. Also, you could watch UNLV and Utah State, which is an important game, again at 4. So there are reasons to stay home. But for the inveterate fan, are we going to see most people who already have tickets come out, or are you worried about a flat environment just because of the weather?
Yeah, I'm curious to see exactly what it looks like around kickoff time. It looks like it's kind of been going back and forth from what I've seen right now. It looks like we should have some rain during the game, and I'm sure that'll keep some people home if it stays the course. I think if there's fewer fans, but more importantly, if there is rain impacting the style of play, I think it's only going to exaggerate all of the same things that I've said about this matchup. The fact that it's probably going to be even more based in the trenches, probably relying even more on the running game. Or you might be susceptible to some turnovers with that wet football, but otherwise it might be even more of a conservative style from two teams that are already relatively conservative. So, of course, having a big crowd helps, especially on those defensive moments, those third downs. But it's going to be, I think, just a gritty game. And if it rains and there's not as much atmosphere, I think it kind of amplifies that a little bit.
The ongoing theme about teams loading the box, Wyoming certainly is well aware of what Fresno State wants to do. Your level of confidence, Jackson, that they can get something out of the passing game, at least enough to make the defense honor it so that you don't have 11 guys within a yard of the line of scrimmage daring you to throw it, okay?
Yeah, one of the quotes I got from Coach Davis, the coordinator this week, was that they would, if it's winning football, if they can throw for about 100 and run for 200, I mean, that's winning football. They're fine with that. So over under 35, I'm taking the over as far as passing yards go, but it might not need to be that much over for them to get a win if they're running the ball effectively. So I'm expecting them. Another part of that too is the fact that the running game was a lot better at Boise State was kind of the fact that they just continued to run the ball and didn't go away from it. So expecting that to be a big part of the recipe here against Wyoming, regardless of how well it's working. I expect them to run the ball a lot. I expect to see more than 35 passing yards, but especially if it's raining, it's going to be tough sledding as far as the passing game goes. I do feel good about them having more options. They went out against the San Diego State defense with certain ideas of what Conklin and the offense could do, and as good as that defense was, part of it was also on the offense of Conklin that they weren't quite ready to execute some of the things they put on his plate, so they really brought things back, went a lot more conservative, shrunk the playbook a bit against Boise State, and that obviously worked out pretty well, but they had a bye week since then, quite a bit of time for them to reinstall, to reintroduce some concepts, and there should be a little more creativity in the passing game, I would say, but even so, it might be tough to see too many yards on that side of the game.
The perception is it's Conklin's job the rest of the year, Jackson. Is that your take? There's no point, barring injury, I believe, in going back to Warner because he's going to be gone. And are we just not going to see Mandel? Is his injury substantial enough that, given the circumstances right now, that it just basically is one guy, Conklin, and then you only worry about that if he happens to get injured?
I believe so. I suppose maybe if there's just a disastrous type of start, they could go to Warner in a given game, but I don't think they plan on or want to do that. I think they want to play Conklin the rest of the way. It seems to be the dedication to the running game plus Conklin being pretty secure with the ball, at least in the Boise State game, seems like the best possible recipe moving forward. Hopefully we see some more yards this week as they introduce some more to the passing game than they did against Boise State. But Mandel's injured, and we've seen him suit up on game days, but he's been just there as kind of an emergency guy, and I'm not sure how much he could really do. He's got an arm-type injury, shoulder, elbow, it appears, from what I've been hearing. So, I mean, that's obviously detrimental to throwing the ball and being a quarterback. So, I think also for Conklin, they're trying to figure out what they need to do for next year, if he can prove himself as a starter for next year, or at least as an option, or what they need to do with the portal window, or how much they need to invest in Deegan Rose. So it's going to answer a lot of questions for next year. And 2 weeks ago, that answer seemed like the forefront of the offense, and now all of a sudden you're right back in the conference championship race. So you really got to be focused on 1-0, but I think they can get both of those answers at the same time here down the final stretch.
Well, no doubt the Boise State game changed everything for Fresno State. There was a lot of that wait till next year, just playing for a bowl game, vetting your younger players, and all of a sudden you win 30-7. And whether you won 30-7 or 30-29, you won. And once you won at Boise, it changed everything, and you have a legitimate chance. I think the inside track, if the Bulldogs can sweep the remainder of these games, to get into that title game. But it starts again. It starts with a 1-0 week, and even though Wyoming on paper is probably the least of the three challenges, at least in theory, because Utah State will come in with a better offense, and then you have to go on the road to San Jose. If you don't pay attention to this one, your whole season can get away. So if I were to ask you a final score, Jackson, what's your feeling? Like a 21-17 game? What are you looking at here?
I think so, something in that range, maybe even fewer points potentially. I'm curious. With rain, you might get a fumble in a bad field position. Maybe that inflates the score, or you might get less passing and more running, and it decreases the score. So you can have some of those impacts on the outcome. But both these defenses are really going to be avoiding giving up the explosive plays. Both of these offenses are going to be trying to pound the ball. It should be a pretty low possession, high time of possession drive type of a game, and I mean that's going to most likely produce a low score. And again, when you play those types of games, you may only win by one score, but it can feel like a lot more when they're so hard to come by.
Well, if we have a rainy day, but again, there are going to be pockets of rain, and it's going to come and go. If it's not raining during the game, again, the field turf, the sprint turf, is much more conducive to a speed game than the old slogging through, like I said, the below sea level Bermuda overlaid by ride that was so slick and so muddy. I'm going to guess, Jackson, that Speedy Luke is going to be the difference maker. As much as you would think a Ramirez, a bull-strong back would be, I think it's going to be Luke, if the field conditions are the way I think they're going to be, that's going to end up breaking some runs. And if that's the case, then Fresno State's going to have a really good night. We'll see. I want to ask you about the other games, though, going forward, because we talk about the traffic jam, and it is just win, baby. Scoreboard watching is almost pointless, and certainly is for the team, because you have so many two-loss teams. But let's start with the first premise. As much as Boise State is a wounded Bronco at the moment, somebody's got to beat them. If they don't, and that's a stunner if they were able to go undefeated the rest of the way, Fresno State's not going to be able to use the tiebreaker because Boise State is the one team outside of San Diego State. Boise State, the one team that's in that 2 slot that the Bulldogs will not be able to catch if Boise doesn't lose. I'm guessing Boise State loses at San Diego State. The game is on CBS Sports Network at 7:30, directly opposite the Fresno State game on FS1. I would think the Aztecs, as we talked early in the week, would be very upset about their horrible showing on the islands and would come out strong. Any concern that San Diego State has taken on water here at a very bad time for Fresno State?
Well, they certainly don't feel invincible anymore. They seem like the one team in conference that you could count on to keep winning, and then they did what they did against Hawaii. You do look back earlier in the year when they had a pretty ugly loss at Washington State, and they turned around and beat Cal 34-0 at home the very next week. So I would think they can be able to bounce back and put together a similar performance. And I would believe Boise State, without their starting quarterback against a defense like that, is going to have trouble moving the ball and scoring points. So the perception has certainly changed on the Aztecs in a short amount of time, but I still think they have the recipe to beat the Broncos here.
I cannot see Boise State finding a way to go undefeated the rest of the way, and if that's the case, they fall with at least 2 losses back into the pack, and the Bulldogs have a great chance. That having been said, that Utah State-UNLV game is very interesting. We've discussed the fact that 2 teams are out of Fresno State's control. UNLV and New Mexico, because Bulldogs don't play them. Everybody else, Fresno State has had a chance and already has beaten them. Or, in the case of San Diego State, you've lost the tiebreak to them. But scoreboard-wise, Utah State, UNLV, that game at 4 o'clock. That's CBS Sports Network has a triple header. San Jose State at Nevada at 12:30. Then Utah State, UNLV at 4, and then the Boise State, San Diego State game at 7:30. While the Bulldogs, I mentioned, on FS1 at the same time, 7:30. Your preference about who wins at Allegiant? Utah State, who the Bulldogs have to see, or UNLV, who they don't? What's your feeling about this game?
Yeah, I think one of the big keys for Fresno State here, I mean, if you're going to try to make the conference championship game, you're obviously assuming the Bulldogs win out. So you really need UNLV to drop one. You need New Mexico to drop one to get them out of the equation. And the Rebels still have Hawaii, and even at Nevada, you never know with that rivalry. But this would be a nice one for the Bulldogs if the Rebels could take another L. I do feel like UNLV has won a lot of these shootout-type games. I'm expecting a lot of points here. And I'm expecting them to find a way to win, especially at home. But it would certainly help if they got tripped up here.
On Tuesday, we were talking about New Mexico being maybe the biggest fly in the ointment for Fresno State, only because they host Colorado State. That's a noon game. That's going to be in the Mountain West Network. I cannot imagine Colorado State, with its struggles, putting up much of a fight. New Mexico has been playing well, and they do know the carrot on a stick for them right now. They have a legitimate chance of being that 2 seed, actually the 1 seed, too, for that matter, because after Colorado State, they go to Air Force. That can be a tough game. But they finish at home against San Diego State, and if, as we talked Tuesday, they were to beat Colorado State and Air Force, not an unreasonable proposition. And if the Aztecs have a little bit of trouble here against Boise, for instance, and I don't think the Aztecs would lose to San Jose State, but it could come down to New Mexico, a game back of San Diego State, or flat-footed tie, but let's say a game back of the Aztecs, and the Aztecs knowing that they are going to be either the 1 or 2 seed, and New Mexico playing for either the 1 seed because of the tiebreak, or they're going to be out, period, which is a high-motivation game for them. Do you worry that Fresno State could run the table and actually be beaten out by New Mexico by quality of wins? Does that concern you at all right now?
It does. Either New Mexico or UNLV, if one of those 2 teams wins out, probably goes to computers, and the Bulldogs probably get left out, whether it's a 2-way or a 3-way tie or more, theoretically. So I think for the Bulldogs, you're just trying to root for, if there's anyone else that's 6-2 with you, it's got to be Boise State and or Hawaii and nobody else, I think.
Well, again, with San Diego State, because of the loss at Hawaii, in theory, the Aztecs could beat Boise State, which would take the Broncos down a notch, and San Diego State could win against San Jose State. But if New Mexico does win at home against Colorado State Saturday, and I expect them to do so, and win at Air Force, there's that scenario, Jackson. If you're San Diego State, you stubbed your toe only once, but New Mexico only 1 game back of you, and they've got you on their home field. That's the kind of situation that we talked about happens when you take only 2 teams from the top and you're not playing in divisional play. And if you're Fresno State, it would be galling if the Bulldogs run the table and they end up out of there. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think you and I are in agreement, right? Given the circumstances, if Fresno State wins their final 3, I think the odds are about 80-20 the Bulldogs get there. as at least the 2 seed. Is that your feeling?
I think so. I've got a hard time seeing UNLV and New Mexico running the table. I know the Lobos are a really fun team, but what's not fun is going to Air Force in late November.
Yep.
What's also not fun is playing San Diego State's defense on a short week on a Black Friday afternoon like they're going to have to. So I think it's going to be tough for the Lobos to pull it off, tough for the Rebels to pull it off. And then at that stage, you're just hoping that San Diego State doesn't fall into that 2-loss tiebreaker with Fresno and whoever else is there, because that could still bump the Bulldogs out. But the Aztecs went out, Bulldogs went out. I think it's hard for Fresno State to miss it. Still possible, but I think the odds are good there.
When the NFL, we always talk about when teams play poorly one week because their paychecks are involved, right? Nobody wants to get cut, the old Jimmy Johnson stuff, right? If you play poorly, couldn't cut the stars, so he cut their best friend, that kind of thing off the team. Okay, but if you're talking about the professional ranks, when you have a team that stinks to join out the way the Aztecs did, a good team that plays poorly, they're going to come back with a vengeance the next week. I don't know if it applies to 18 to 22-year-olds, but I will ask you in closing: does NIL make it more like the pro model, where guys say, "I got to earn my paycheck now"? Is that what it comes down to? So a bounce back game because of your paycheck?
I'm not so sure about bounce back.
That's a lot of garbage.
Really, I feel like it's altered the back ends of seasons. If you're a team that bought a lot of players and you fall short of your goals by early November, how motivated are those guys?
Right.
And then you've got a lot of individuals who are trying to earn their paycheck for the next season by having some good film, even in some games that don't matter so much. So that's changed the math for a lot of teams from that side of things, I think.
Unless you went to the University of Florida, I don't think they can cut you in the middle of the year. We got lawsuits flight about that, as you know, from a few years ago. Last thing for you, injury report for Fresno State. Anything of note?
The Bulldogs, it does look like Deshaun Lafitte is going to be full go, which is big news for the Bulldogs. He wasn't able to play at Boise State. Brock Liam has been cleared to join the active roster since he got injured on the very first drive at Kansas, and he caught a pass on that drive. I think they were expecting him to have a really big role in that game, and perhaps all season long. So I'm curious to see how they work him back into things. He's a very athletic tight end, very high speed, but probably not there yet. He's playing with a knee brace, so I'm curious to see how much he can handle if he comes back. And I think they're monitoring couple of other issues from the bye week and the Boise game, that maybe new stuff that might be missing a guy or two for the Wyoming game.
Well, they have to win the football game. I don't think, even though we talked about the mathematics of a 3-loss team getting in, realistically, given the logjam, Bulldogs just have to put up 3 W's. They got the first of 4 against Boise State. We'll see what happens against Wyoming on Saturday night. Jackson, I know you're embracing big-time white uniforms with green coloring around them and the green V and everything, and I know that you were behind that, so we'll discuss that in days to come. Appreciate it, my friend, for putting up with me one more time. You never know, dude. It's like a roller coaster ride without the safety bar down. You're just never sure, are you? Because I know, and I'm not sure either, and I'm the one who's responsible for this or to blame for it. Take your pick. Always appreciate it, Paisan. I hope people visit the board. Again, 30%, and what is the proposition right now for you board-wise?
Yeah, 30% off a year right now comes out to just $7 a month that way for the year. And there's also a 1-month trial for just $1 if you want to just try it out and get in on the scoop. And there's a lot of it going on this next month with the final stretch of the regular season and basketball and signing day around the corner as well.
No doubt about it. And one final note. Jackson is going to do the completely impossible. He is going to thread both the football game and the basketball game at the same time, even though he's on site at the football game. It's an unbelievable accomplishment. But if anybody could I'm lying, but if anybody could do it, it would be you, Jackson. So have a great and dry Saturday. I'll talk to you next week. Take care.
All right, you too, Tony. Thank you.
All right, de facto co-host Jackson Moore. Take a break, tell you about the schedule, hand it off to Phil, ready to go from Fashion Furniture today, and then we get started with the National Football League Week 11. Take a break, tell you about the schedule after this as the Bulldog Hour continues on this Thursday on Central Valley Sports Leader, 1430 ESPN.
There's only one. West Coast? West Coast Exhaust and Off-Road. Hey folks, Steve Johnson here from West Coast Exhaust and Off-Road. For over 20 years, my crew and I have been keeping rides running rights. From cars and trucks to side-by-sides, ready to roll into the season. Whether you need a tune-up, oil change, or full custom build, bring it to the crew that loves what we do. Get your rig ready for fall and winter adventures with a $100 suspension inspection. Only at West Coast Exhaust and Off-Road. Check out our 5-star Google reviews and swing by in Fresno, just west of Shaw and Brawley, or online at westcoastexhaustandoffroad.com.
Quick, where can you find a great selection of Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Serta, and Mattress First bedding? Easy. The same place you'll find adjustable beds, sheets, pillows, mattress protectors, and more. Sleep Retreat, inside Fashion Furniture. It's worth the time to walk through and imagine what your home could look like with beautiful new furniture. Or how comfortable you'll be on your new mattress. Fashion Furniture on El Paso, across from River Park. There's nothing like it in all of California.
The deadline to receive the 30% federal solar tax credit is December 31st. That's the day your new solar system must be operational. The deadline to call Donald P. Dick is Friday, November 21st. A new solar system starts at under $10,000. Donald P. Dick will provide a proposal with all the details for you to make an informed decision. Let Mr. Cool show you how to drive down the cost of home energy. Call 559-255-1644 for Donald P. Dick.
Football fans, it's Phil Bonatti with Behind the Bench. The season is heating up, so bring your tailgate to mid-season form with Grocery Outlet in Kerman, Sanger, and Fresno's Southeast, Downtown, and Northwest stores. Stock up and save big on quality meats, snacks, drinks, beer, and wine. The same great quality, but always at lower prices. And while you're there, enter the Tailgate Ready contest to win 2 tickets to the next Fresno State home game, plus $100 for your tailgate. Only at Kerman, Sanger, and Fresno's Southeast, Downtown, and Northwest Grocery Outlets.
Hey, Dad, have you thought about what we talked about?
You mean Thiessen-Duker Modern Wealth Management? Modern sounds complicated.
Look, you've got money, but it's all over the place. That's complicated, and your money could be working smarter for you. Thiessen-Duker uses advanced software designed to analyze how your different assets can work together toward your goals. You'd be surprised what a few simple adjustments can make. A lot of other advisors don't even use this technology.
And it wasn't complicated?
Thiessen-Duker made it simple. And now my accounts are streamlined too. I go to thiessen-duker.com, click on the Account View tab, and I can see all my accounts in one place.
Oh, your mom would love that.
Yeah, and so will you. That's what Thiessen-Duker can do for you.
Modern Wealth Management. I'm in, son.
Just visit thiessen-duker.com and give them a call.
The advisors of Thiessen-Duker Modern Wealth Management are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Everybody, welcome back. It's about 2:54, about 5 minutes to go on the show. We'll hand it off to Phil. Great show Behind the Bench. 2 hours today at Fashion Furniture with our good buddy Rod Evadikian. Again, El Paso across from River Park. Best furniture you're going to find anywhere. Nothing like it in all of California. A great conversation of Phil's show, some good eats as well. Stop by and see him. You can also give him a call on the Lee's Air Hotline, which is 559-320-1430. A busy sports weekend for us starts tonight with Week 11 of the National Football League. I'll tell you all about that schedule in just a moment, but one quick reminder here, once again, about our buddies at the local KFCs in Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman. They have the throwback to the late 90s underway right now, which means the classic honey barbecue flavor on everything they offer, the chicken sandwiches, the tenders, and, of course, those crispy golden pieces you know and love. You've got the chicken sandwiches for $3.99. You've got the 2-, 3-, and 4-piece dinners. You've also got the offers on Tuesday and Wednesday still in place, the $10 8-piece bucket or tenders on Tuesday, the $5.99 chicken fried steak, country fried steak on Wednesday. A lot going on and everything for October and now November with the original honey barbecue sauce, which is sweet and savory and back in the game for a limited time. KFC, always finger-licking good. Stop on in. Fresno, Clovis, Selma, and Kerman. Pick up a bucket or two and tell them thanks for supporting athletics throughout this great valley of ours. As far as the lineup for both 1430 and 790, brought to you by Ed Dunkel, his outstanding business, precision civil engineering, planning, land surveying, civil engineering, landscape architecture, construction management. It's all there under one roof, 449-4500 or precisioneng.net. And again, Ed always benefiting the Lyles College of Engineering on campus at Fresno State with his fundraising. The goal always to unify athletics and academics to provide more funding resources to students. It's worked beautifully over the years. A lot of those grads from the College of Engineering, the Lyles College on campus, end up working for Ed at Precision Civil Engineering. As far as the lineup goes, tonight we get started with the National Football League with the white-hot Patriots who have come back to form, hosting the Jets, who are not white-hot. And also we have the Sharks and the Flames tonight over on 790, the football game at 5 o'clock on 1430. So Phil will have 2 hours for you from Fashion Furniture. Then it's time for football. Speaking of football, Phil, Paul Metters, and Pat Hill out at La Monica, round 2 of the playoffs, Clovis West and Clovis. The matchup from just a couple weeks ago, the huge rivalry with even more on the line as winner takes all and loser leaves the playground this time of year. 6:30 the pre, 7 o'clock they'll kick it off on 14:30 on Friday. Also over the weekend, a lot of NFL. 49ers host the Cardinals, or excuse me, the 49ers are hosting, or being hosted, or roasted, if you will, the way things are going. They are in Glendale, Arizona. Let's clarify this. They're at the Big Toaster, as Berman used to say. 49ers and the Cardinals on 14:30, and on 790, the hugely important game between the Rams and the Seahawks. That is a 105 start. The 49er game is at 125. And also, we have the Sunday night game, and then the Monday game is Major Wager Monday. That would be the Raiders. They are hosting the Cowboys in Vegas, and that'll be a 5:15 start. So stop by Me and Ed's Victory Grill, Cedar and Dakota, Granite Park, Carter, the whole gang there for Major Wager Mondays. The great food of Me and Ed's, the great atmosphere, the big screen TVs. Again, get there by 5. The game is on ABC and ESPN, and we'll have the Raider feed for you on air on 14:30 beginning at 5 o'clock after Phil wraps up. So stop on in Granite Park, Cedar and Dakota, Me and Ed's Victory Grill, Major Wager Monday. The other reminders, Phil normally 3 to 6 with his great show Behind the Bench, and as I mentioned, you can reach him on the Lee's Air Hotline, 559-320-1430. Paul Metters has 2 fine shows on Wednesdays on our sister station, the Deuce 790, Sunbird Sports Show, 6 to 7 o'clock in the evening, all about Fresno Pacific Athletics. And then Paul also has his long-running show, Central Valley Sports Report, 10 a.m. to noon, live from First String Sports on Saturdays on 1430. We are with you at 2 o'clock each and every weekday. You can reach me, tdad1 at att.net, TDAD, the number 1 at att.net. First names are fine. As usual, behind on emails. I'll do the best I can to get to them as we get through next week. Brian Panish with me tomorrow, of course, setting things up for the game on Saturday. And the final reminder, always information for the station, 1430ESPNFresno.com. The live links podcast are there. Get the app, makes it a lot easier to listen. Keep in mind, Phil is on video live during his show. You can check that out at the website as well. Thanks again to Jackson for his time and putting up with me again today. Thanks as always to Jorge. We will see you guys tomorrow. Phil is coming up from Fashion Furniture, then football, and don't forget the Lakers also coming around the bend over the weekend. A lot going on both 1430 and 790. We'll see you guys tomorrow with Brian Panish on KFIG Fresno.
Strong company culture doesn't happen by accident. It starts with well-trained managers who know how to lead with purpose. The Sandler Management Accelerated Program is a 10-week course that gives your leaders a clear roadmap to management success. They'll learn how to manage, develop, and retain your most valuable